Well, good morning. I'm reading from the book of Genesis this morning and reading about Abram and God's promise that he would have a son. And if you remember in the story, Sarai, she's too old to have a child, and so she decides that they are going to take God's promise into their own hands, and she is going to give her handmaid Hagar to Abram, and the child that she bears by Abram will be born upon her knees, which will make it her child. And it says, verse 4 of chapter 16, he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived, and when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid unto thy bosom, and when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes, and the Lord judged between me and thee. But Abram said unto Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand, do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. So we've just got this incredible mess going on in Abram's house. And one of the things I've always said is there's no such thing as a happily married polygamist. And that's where Abram is at this point. Unfortunately, I feel sorry, always have, for Hagar as I read this story. And she runs away because of the treatment that she gets. Well, it says in verse 7, The angel of the Lord found her by the fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence comest thou, and whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself unto her hands. Now, that would be tough to do. She's trying to get away from the hard treatment that she's receiving. But God finds her. He sends this angel, and he finds her by this well, and she really doesn't have a good plan. She's just running away. But he tells her, he says, Return and submit. And then he says, The angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for a multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man, and his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God seest me, El Roi. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Wherefore the well was called Bir Lahai Roi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name, which Hagar bare, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram. Like I said, I've always felt sorry for Hagar as I read this story, but one of the things that she finds out is she finds out about God. In the midst of her very difficult circumstance, her bad plan. She's running away. She doesn't have a good plan at all. Maybe she's trying to get back to Egypt, back to some of her people or to her family, and God finds her there by the way. Sometimes that's where we find ourselves, in a place where we really don't know what to do. We're just trying to get away from whatever it is that's so painful to us. And in the midst of that, God comes to us. And the name that she calls God here is so amazing. El Roi, the God who sees me. It's such a great reminder. God sees you. God knows exactly what's going on in your circumstance. He's looking out for you. And He has a plan. And even in the midst of difficult circumstances, He can see you and send you back into those difficult circumstances and take care of you in the midst of all that. Not only that, but the name of Ishmael, God shall hear. That's what Ishmael means. So one of the things that Hagar learned about God in this process is that God sees her, that God hears her, and that God cares for her. Cast your cares upon Him, for He cares for you. Jesus sees, Jesus hears. You trust Him today. Have a great day.